Have you ever gotten home from the hardest day at work, plop down on your couch, look up at the ceiling, and just pondered your existence? I tend to gravitate towards a more utilitarian mindset. This is because I come from a capitalist society, America, go figure, and we like to place as much emphasis on people as a resource to manage as much as the raw materials that go into the production of goods that we can sell and everything of that sort. When you really get into it, there's a lot of insignificance as individuals within the workplace unless it can be utilized to manipulate the worker to work harder. Um, so think about it this way: there's 8 billion people in the world, right? And not one person could change the world so drastically with one decision, right? Sometimes this can be used to be devastating. This sometimes can be used to be validating, and sometimes it can be just a motivator. But what I notice a lot in younger people is they develop very grandiose ideas about how they want to be remembered, and by extension, how much impact they want on the world. And one of the things that I think of whenever it comes to this is, do we really need a extremely grandiose perspective on life to validate our own existence? This might be a loaded question, but do we all have to become president to be worth a damn to be remembered? I would make the argument that we don't have to do something so grand scale because it's impossible. So let's think about how a president, or just individuals that are working with the president, because the president, when you really think about it, doesn't really have that much power beyond just the international affairs and the military. So when it comes to, let's say, the president, and we make a hypothetical situation in which he has a lot more power than what he has, the main thing is he has his power because the people willed it. And thus is not just an individual acting with individual interests, he's acting with collective power for collective responsibility, right? And one of the more substantial things is we understand that he can affect the life of Americans, and he could probably affect the lives of individuals that rely on the American economy. But he cannot really impact other countries and what they do other than using strong arm policies or embargoes to prevent them from doing things we don't want them to do. So when it comes down to that, in this hypothetical scenario, even then, he is not all powerful. And when we get to individuals that romanticize, let's say, Wolf of Wall Street or various other business-based movies where the main character is the smartest guy in the room and no one else knows what they're talking about and blah blah blah, we like to romanticize winners, um, and how much they can make out of the world and make their own personal lives better, etc., etc. And one of the more devastating things is how people think of so grand scale to the point they forget the reality that's right in front of them. Let's think about it this way. To impact individuals beyond just yourself, you just need to impact one person. Make that person feel good and willing to continue the life they live. And it doesn't have to just end with one person. You can do it with 5, 20, 30, 50, 100 people. Who knows? The main thing is that you are trying your best to increase the quality of life for your fellow person. And you don't have to do this as President of the United States of America. You don't have to do this as some rich millionaire that made it big off Wall Street. You don't have to be that. In fact, all you have to do is be someone that just gives a damn. Not a lot of people want to admit this, but really, the majority of effort is just caring. And let me slow this down a little bit. I am going to go into personal anecdotal evidence, but you'll figure out why I'm doing this in a second. I joined the Sci-Fi and Fantasy Guild my freshman year of college. I went to every single event. I loved it. I went to Warhammer and stayed up until 4 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday nights. And to put it rather simply, I was super engaged with it. And the officer team was very impressed with me because I went to everything. And to me, it made zero sense as to why they would be so impressed with that. I just showed up. I participated, yes, but I didn't do anything super significant. And they told me at the homecoming parade, I am probably one of the most active members that seems to actually give a damn about the guild. And that to me was baffling. I didn't understand it at the time, but after being in a presidential position myself and working with my school's SGA, I can now understand where they were coming from. A lot of people are very unmotivated when it comes to collective responsibility. Everyone wants to just focus on themselves and what they can get out of things instead of, oh, this helps the community at large. While also having these grandiose ideas of how they're going to impact the world around them. And one of the things I think a lot of people are heavily neglecting is the community that's right around the corner. Literally, I could step outside and start helping my town. I can start helping the local businesses here. I can start doing a lot of things that overall impact the quality of life that my town has. And we forget about that because it's a small town. So what's the overall impact of this small town overall? Well, in the grand scheme of everything, nothing. This town could be literally flattened by an earthquake, avalanche, anything like that. And yes, there will be news reports for a few days, a few Red Cross workers trying to help with rescuing people, but overall, the impact of it on the grand scheme of everything doesn't do anything. But the main thing is, in that hypothetical, the likelihood of that happening is 0 to none. But more importantly, it's where we found ourselves as people, our home. It's something that we want to cultivate, make something into something better, right? We want to improve the lives of everyone collectively. And when you start to distance yourself, like take that big of a step back where you're always looking at everything grand scheme, you end up not looking at the world right in front of you. You're looking past it. You're looking towards the universe, the stars, the forever expanding world that we have currently a playground in. But you're not looking at the Earth. You're not looking at the United States of America. You're not even looking at your own town. What I would suggest or implore is that individuals get more involved with their communities at large and impact those communities in a positive manner, especially if what you want is to improve the quality of life of everyone around you. Because you'll be surprised with, yes, only 100 people are affected, but they were positively affected, and you impacted the world, and you're going to be remembered. You ended up doing the very thing you accomplished. You don't have to be remembered by everyone. In fact, more than likely, you'll still be remembered. Just try to think a little bit outside of the grand scale perspective. That's all.